You know that feeling of feeling stuck in your life, in your body, in your mind? You know that feeling of being surrounded by family, friends, coworkers, associates, but still feeling invisible, like they see you, but not really see you? You know that feeling of waking up and realizing that you've taken on jobs, roles, responsibilities. You've entered into relationships, career sectors that you were never meant to shrink yourself into. You know that feeling of settling for the bare minimum because you convinced yourself that you should just be grateful and thankful for just this little bit of staying in spaces that drained you because choosing yourself felt too dangerous, too disruptive, too taboo, too unorthodox, too unknown, too much. You know that feeling of giving too much on your job, in your relationships, in your friendships, and feeling like you're not getting half of what you've been giving back. Like there is absolutely little to no return on investments. You're asking yourself, I got the receipts. So where all my shit at? That feeling where you accept, taught yourself to accept attention instead of true intimacy, routine instead of passion, and survival instead of the life you know you were made for. That feeling where you look around at your life and you close your eyes and you shake your head and you say to yourself, I know this can't be life. I know this isn't the life that I signed up for. I know damn well this is not the reason why I chose to come to this planet. You know that feeling? When you start to have these feelings, when you start to realize the shit in your life, when you start to look around at your life and you're realizing, I got the receipts, but my life isn't equaling out. My body isn't equaling out. My passion isn't equaling out. My purpose isn't equaling. The relationships that I'm in isn't equaling out to what I know I signed up for. When you start having these feelings, that's when everything begins to shift for you. This is a point where you decide to start feeling yourself again, feeling on yourself, feeling into yourself. You start feeling yourself, feeling yourself. I'm feeling myself, I'm feeling my. You decide to feel yourself. Let me tell you why. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning pain into power is sexy. I am your host and creator of this colony and the many colonies we're building around our globe, hell, around our galaxies at this point. I am your queen bee, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty, aka Nova, also known as the Gypsy Empress. You know what it is. Listen, let's get into this message. Shouts out to those of you who are newly subscribed here. I see you. Welcome home. Welcome to your colony. Okay. For those of you who have been subscribed here for some time, I appreciate you. Thank you for making this home. We found each other again. We've known each other in past lives, and we are here again doing what we didn't get done in our past lives, but we're back. So let's get into this message. Listen, hmm, what happens when you finally decide to feel yourself again? Now, those of you that know, you know that I'm also a certified sexuality educator, okay? Notwithstanding the bachelor's that I earned in sociology, the master's that I went on to earn as a psychologist, but also certified sexuality educator. Over on my Patreon, I share some of my most explicit content, videos, articles, photos. When I talk about feeling yourself, I am literally talking about feeling yourself. If you'd like to know more, if you like those yummy, juicy, delicious deep dives as it relates to your personal development, your mental health, self help, your mission and your purpose, why you decided to come to this planet, remembering why you decided to come to this planet, you've got to begin in your body. And if you like those deep dives into remembering through your body, okay, become a member over on Patreon. For those of you who are members on Patreon, put it in the comments how you're enjoying it over there. Let people know. Okay, let them know that they're not alone. Mercury is in retrograde, y'all. So if I stutter, it's because of that. Let's get into it. What happens when a woman decides to finally feel herself, i.e., touch herself? Physically, yes. Mentally, yes. Spiritually, yes. Energetically, emotionally, touch herself. But first, let's talk about the breakdown, the breaking point. I'm looking down because I got some notes in front of me because it helps me not go off on a tangent like sometimes I do. So I'm going to be looking down. That is why. So let's talk about the breaking point that many of us experience in our lives. The breaking point is necessary in order to get us to remember who we are, what we are, and why we decided to come to this planet. I can't remember who said it. If it was it Jung, which is one of my favorite humans. I quote all of his work, most of his work in my book, Activate. Make sure you get your copy. It's available on Amazon, a paperback or ebook. But the quote is, I don't know if it's Jung or anyway, tell me who it is. Put it in the comments if y'all remember. But the quote is, the crack is where the light gets in. If I'm saying that right, I could be kind of paraphrasing. The crack is where the light gets in. If you are at these points in your life where you have found yourself stuck, stagnant, broken out, okay? I promise you, you're not alone. If you are here as an activated alchemist and chosen one, if you are listening to this, I promise you, you are not alone. This is your community. This is your tribe. This is your colony. We are all on this path together to remembering who we are and what we are and why we came to this planet. Me deciding, besides earning my bachelor's and my master's, me deciding to get certified as a sexuality educator is me remembering who I am, what my powers are, and why I decided to come to this planet. For those of you, again, who are members over on patreon.com/alcheminity, I did a series on the sacred sex goddess. The breaking point for me, when the light came in for me, it was me remembering that in past lives, which is the wisdom and the knowledge that we are all charged to bring into this life. But in past life, I worked as a sacred sex goddess, literally in temples. Many of you, this is your path, this is your story. Many of your missions and your purposes are erotic. And if you do not get comfortable with your own eroticism by first feeling yourself, then you will never come into your purpose. You will never come into your mission. You'll never be able to break free. You'll never be able to write that book. You'll never be able to sing that song. You'll never be able to dance that dance. You'll never be able to stand in the heat of your mission and of your purpose. Because again, a lot of your missions and your purposes are requiring you, are calling y'all to be in the public eye. Can you stand in the heat of your eroticism? When the world is scrutinizing you, saying that you are too much, that you're too sexy, you're too sensual, you're confident, she thinks she all that, who she thinks she is, can you stand in the heat of that? Because as you show up in your purpose and as you answer the calling, there are going to be people that love you, but there are going to be an equal amount of people that can't stand your ass. Can you take it? Can you handle it? This is your mission. This is your purpose. This is me going off on a tangent. Let's get to point one because I haven't even gotten there yet. Listen, this is the breaking point. All right. I call this, again, I'm looking down at my notes because this is how spirit channeled it to me, but the internal snap, the moment you can no longer lie to yourself. The internal snap, write this shit down. Okay. This is a moment where you can no longer lie to yourself, to yourself first, right? Because you've taught yourself to lie to people around you. You've taught yourself to lie to your family and your friends and your coworkers. You've taught yourself to hide and wear these masks of being overly humble, right? But some of my clients that I work with, all of my clients that I work with, we've all taught ourselves to hide and playing these overly humble roles, hiding how sensual we are, hiding our sexy, right? I'm bringing sexy back. Yep, right? Part of your mission and your purpose is to bring sexy back in your life, in your body, in your mind, showing up as that, showing up as erotic. Now, Remember, I don't teach sex here. This is sexuality and sensuality, which are fundamentally different, categorically the same in the same category, but fundamentally different. When I talk about sensuality and sexuality, I am talking about the spirit of God. I'm talking about the energy that creates everything, the energy that magnetizes and draws and attracts everything, the birds, the bees, the trees. Like moths to flames burned by the fire. That is the energy that we work with here. That is the energy that we are remembering. That is the energy that we are activating. That is the energy that we are tuning into, tapping into to heal our bodies, our minds. That is the energy we're tapping into to set ourselves free. That is the energy we're tapping into to magnetize opportunity towards us. That's the energy that we are using and tapping into that magnetize our divine partners to us. Hello, them to us and us to them. You are me and me are you. The energy of creation, sensual and sexual energy is God in creation. Are you hearing me? That is the energy that we're talking about here. Right. So the snapping point, the internal snap is when you can no longer lie to yourself that you are a sensual and sexual being that is supposed to be desired and admired. You know, for many of you, like it was for me, many of us have suffered from extreme levels of anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts because we didn't know how to take being desired and admired. Over on my Patreon, okay, many of you, like I did, suffered from extreme levels of anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts because you couldn't take the heat of being a sex symbol. You didn't know and don't know how to take being so magnetic and so attractive in your energy that you arouse men, women. Heavy is the head that wears the crown of a person that is magnetic and aroused in their power and in their purpose. You reach this internal snap where you can no longer hide, you can no longer lie to yourself. Number two, you're tired of being numb. Okay, again, these are the breaking points. You're tired of being numb, tired of performing, tired of accepting the bare minimum. I know where you are. I know where you are. I've been there. And in my own ways, I'm still there. Right. Because this is an evolutionary journey. Let me just let y'all know you never, I don't say you never, because when I'm thinking, I'm hearing Tina Turner when she said she had done everything she wanted to do in life and she felt like she could die. She was on an interview with Oprah and she was like, I got to a point in my life where I feel like I've done everything. I've done all the things I wanted to do and I can die now. Don't get me wrong, you do get to a point of satisfaction in your life. You do, especially on this journey as an activated alchemist, especially when you have answered the calling on your life, when you've answered the calling of your erotic mission and purpose. You get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm good right here. I'm satisfied. I can stay right here. But do know that this is an evolutionary journey. It is ever going. We are ever evolving as long as we are in these physical bodies. We are ever evolving. Even after these physical bodies, we are evolving. There's levels to this shit, right? So you get to this point of being numb and tired of performing and tired of accepting the bare minimum. All right. We realize that we've been accepting the bare minimum in jobs, in relationships. We've been performing for everybody else around us, over giving, overly humble to everyone else around us but ourselves. And we're wondering why we're feeling tired and broke and broken and broken out. Performing, meaning wearing these masks of perfection, right? Wearing these masks of, oh, everything's okay, especially especially for those of us um, divine feminines, right? When I work with my clients and we get on camera for the first time and I say, how are you? How have you been? And they say, I've been good, I've been fine. And I pause and just look at them. For my clients that are watching this, you already know what I'm talking about. I'll pause and I look at them and I say, really? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? We're just gonna breeze over that. You fine, you good, I'm good. Really? Because if you were fine and you were good, we wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be working exclusively with me right now. How are you really? Where are you really? And that's when we get into our deep dives. That's when they open up. That's when the transparency happens, right? But so many of us have been in this practice of when somebody asks you how you're doing, and we just say, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. And I know Don't get me wrong. A lot of the times we do that because we're passing like ships passing in the night. Like you're passing a coworker, or you're passing you're at the store and you see the usual store clerk and they ask you how you doing and you say I'm doing fine. I get that because you don't want everybody in your business, right? But when you have people around you who are asking you how you're doing, people that you feel like you can somewhat confide in, and I'm not talking about trauma dumping, all right? I'm just talking about being honest and transparent. Let me tell you what really sets you free. When somebody asks you how you doing, because this used to be my response, and sometimes it still is depending on how I'm feeling that day. Well, even at work, those of you that know, I work as a flight attendant, which is something even I'm feeling guided to move out of. All right. But anyway, when people ask me how I'm doing, I'll be very honest. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired today. And they just like, girl, me too. Right? It's this transparency and this honesty. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, girl, I'm tired. Girl, how you doing today? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here today. I don't. I want to be at home getting fed grapes by some sexy god named Zeus. I'm just saying. Right? That's how transparent I have become. Not to let anybody else in my business, not because I'm trauma dumping, because it sets me free to tell you. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you the answer because it sets me free. Throat chakra, right? It sets me free to be honest with people in a way where they're shocked. They're like, "Oh my god." And when I'm that transparent, it opens other people up to want to be as transparent too. I love that. I love that I have activated, which is the same journey that many of you are on, but awaken this unapologetic divine darkness in us where we no longer apologize for saying we fucking tired today. I don't want to be here today. I don't want to be at work today. Right? Your man asking you how you doing. How you doing today, baby? I mean, I could use a good orgasm, but how you doing today, baby? I mean, you can lick my toes today. That would make me feel better. Lick my toes. Become a member over on Patreon. All right. Let's keep going. All right. For those deep, yummy, juicy, delicious eyes. I can't say too much here on YouTube. Can't say that. Right. So what's the other breaking point? The other breaking point is our bodies, right? Your body starts to communicate in burnout, right? Irritation, boredom, emotional exhaustion, nervous system all fucked up, hormones all out of balance, you're pissed off, right? Burnout sets in, the nervous system is imbalanced, the hormones are imbalanced, body's going up and down in weight, skin breaking out. Our bodies will show our traumas. Our bodies will show when we are stuck. You know how your body starts to show that you're stuck? You'll have stiffness, right? For one of the symptoms for me, where when you're on the dark night of the soul odyssey, your intuition is waking up. You get this clarity. You start to tune into yourself, and you're tuning into yourself because you're feeling yourself. You're feeling you're feeling yourself. Become a member over on Patreon. Okay. So one of the things that I noticed that I started to become conscious of as I became more conscious with myself and in my body, tuning into my body through sacred self-touch, become a member over on Patreon. All right. Feeling yourself. But the symptoms that were showing up for me was lower back pain, extreme lower back pain. I knew intuitively that my root chakra was blocked because my sacrum felt so stuck. Like when I would get out of bed, like I would have to, and I still do in a lot of ways, have to do certain stretches, which is why I started Pilates. I started doing womb opening exercises, hip opening exercises. Again, this is some of the stuff that for those of you that work one-on-one with me, we'll be sharing and going into practices with opening up your hips, i.e., opening up your womb, i.e., opening up your pussy, so that God can flow in and up and through you and do the work that you were meant to do. It happens through your pussy. Ooh, am I saying too much? Become a member over on Patreon. All right. But mine started to show up in my lower back, and I knew there was root chakra work that needed to happen and continues to happen, especially because the root chakra is responsible for stability, financial things. Many of us on this journey, we've had to wake up to the fact that Wake up to the fact that the reason why we've been stuck and broken and burned out because we've been taking on roles and responsibilities and jobs that we weren't supposed to not necessarily take on. We probably were supposed to be there for a season, but not for seasons. And I'm telling you, as I talk to you, I talk to myself. Like I'm thankful for the experiences, but it's time to move on. It's time to move on from certain jobs, moving fully into our purposes and our missions. Because I tell you, when I tell you, I know the feeling of burnout over and over and over again in my life because I kept taking jobs that required more of you without giving in return, right? I know the level of burnout and stress from a job that doesn't appreciate you. You're overworked and underpaid. I know the feeling to this day. I know the feeling. Okay. So our bodies will start to respond to the stress. Our nervous systems will start to break down again. Our hormones are all out of whack. Our skin starts to break out. We're holding on to weight. You're looking around like, where the fuck did this fat come from? Why is it just sitting here? Right? Because our bodies are holding on to the stress, holding on to trauma, especially for those of us women. Okay. When we are stressed, those cortisol levels increase. Cortisol controls the responses. Cortisol controls body fat. Okay. When that cortisol is high, that body is going to accumulate fat and keep accumulating fat and holding on to fat. Don't believe me? Do your research on it. I'm not a doctor. Go ask a doctor about it. Okay. So the stress will start to show up in our bodies. You don't know how many flight attendants I talk to on a daily basis who would message me, email me saying, I'm so stressed out, I'm so burned out. And I get it because I'm working in the same environment. But I look at flight attendants who started out as a flight attendant a couple years ago, and I would see their profile pictures because when you graduate, you get your picture taken, it's on your badge, and it's a picture you have forever. Like it never goes away. And so I'd see flight attendants in their initial pictures when they first graduated from ground school. They were slim. They were so much slimmer. And then being a flight attendant for 3 or 4 years, they are significantly overweight, significantly overweight. Their skin has changed, their body has changed, their tolerance is lower. The morale is down. Y'all just don't know what we go through as flight attendants, honey. Y'all just don't know. And me as a divine feminine coming into such a space like that, if there's anything that if being a flight attendant has taught me anything, it has taught me hmm, being a flight, what has it taught me? Ain't that something? That's kind of fucked up because I can't even think of. But if it's taught me anything, it has taught me that you better have some shit going on for you so that you can get out when it's time to get out. Ooh, 25 minutes. We haven't even gotten fully into it. I'm just wanting to be transparent with y'all because this is real talk. This is a real journey that we're on with some of my clients that I'm working with. I'm talking about some of my clients are like in the tech space, software developers, they're in corporate America. Some of them are physicians. Some are even stay-at-home moms. But for those who are in like these high profile positions, some of my clients, they are being called to leave these positions because of the amount of stress that they endure, which has wreaked havoc on their mind, on their body, on their confidence. Many of you, as the activated alchemists and chosen ones, we are being called out of jobs to fully focus on the mission of why we decided to come to this planet. And the way that that's going to start to show up to you is through burnout, through irritation, boredom, exhaustion, nervous system breaking down, skin breaking out, hormones all fucked up, right? These breaking points are the beginning of your awakening, and not just your awakening, but the calling for you to activate, right? So, what happens when you start feeling yourself and feeling into yourself? Sensation returns. Again, I'm looking down because I have notes in front of me. Your intuition wakes up. Desire starts to wake up, right? You start to get pissed off about some things because now you're seeing the truth of shit that like it's like I've been lied to about this. Like this, you start to see the truth. You're looking around you, you're like, wow, this is really fucked up. This is a really fucked up situation, right? That Kali energy starts to kick in, right? If you don't know who Kali is, look it up. When you start to feel yourself, right? You start waking up this energy, and this energy is clairvoyant, it's clairsentient, it's clairaudient, it's empathic, it's intuitive. It is giving you clarity. Not your eyes are opening up, but your eye is opening up and you're starting to see everything for what it is and what it is not. You're starting to see everyone for what they are and what they are not. And you start to get pissed off. And that Kali energy, that dark divine energy starts to raise up and rise up in you. You want to just slay shit. You want to chop heads. Okay. Chopping heads meaning you want to cut this person out of your life, this job out of your life, this place out of your life, this relationship out of your life, this house out of your life, this weight off of your body. You want to just start slicing and cutting shit out. You get pissed off and you're pissed off that this is what you have been accepting for yourself. Your intuition, again, your desire and clarity wakes up. You start seeing the difference between where you are and not only where you desire to be, but where you are called to be. You start to see how erotic life can be, how luxurious, you know, the luxurious experiences and opulent experiences that you know you ought to be experiencing, the relationships and the love and the passion that you ought to be experiencing. You know that you deserve to experience a love or a romance that is crazy about you, that is passionate about you. You start looking at the relationship you're in and realizing, like, let me tell y'all something. Let me just tell y'all something. I'm going to post something over on my members only because I don't want to post it here. But I was working a flight 2 days ago, flying with one of my coworkers, and we're on our phones, and right before boarding, 4:14 on the clock right now. That's a synchronicity for me. I don't know if it's for y'all. 4:14 is in the time. But we set our phones down because we're like, oh, we're about to board. So we may be in the middle of doing something. So I was in the middle of texting a divine masculine that is in my life. Okay. Remember, many of you have more than one divine masculines, but divine masculine in my life. And we're texting, and I was like, oh, I had to do something. So I just set my phone down. We do that all the time. Flight attendants, we just set our shit everywhere. And when we take off, we're about to take off, and she says to me the next day, she didn't even say it that day. She said it the next day. She said, girl, I need you to teach me your ways. And I said, what are you talking about? Teach you my ways? What do you mean? She's like, I just need you to teach me your ways. Part of that, let me just go back a little bit. No, let me say right here. Hold on. So she said, I need you to teach me your ways. I said, what do you mean? She says, I saw the text messages. She said, I wasn't trying to be nosy or nothing. I was just reaching over, getting something out of the bin. And I looked down and your phone was there and I saw the text messages. And she said, I was blown away. I need you to teach me your ways. She said, I want my boyfriend to be like that. How did you get him like that? How did you make him crazy about you like that? Some of the things I saw that he was saying, I need my man to be like that. Teach me your ways, a wise one. And I got her on video. So again, I may post that over on the members only. We'll see. And I said, can I get you saying that? Because I love to share things with y'all as my members over on Patreon. And so when I say your desire wakes up, her seeing those text messages, we had a long talk on that aircraft. She talked about just some things she wanted to change in her life and in her body and just her relationship, the job, and things like that. And so we just had this deep, deep powwow. And when I say your desire wakes up, her seeing those text messages, her seeing the way that I moved throughout the airport, because there was another male colleague that we were flying with, and he came back there to kind of chat with us. And he was saying, Timmesha, I see when you walk through the airport, the attention that you get, like one of the police officers who's like, you have police officers that are doing security in the airport, how he looked at you when you walked past and he just shook his head and we just kind of smiled. He said, I just see the attention that you get. Everybody stares at you. Right. So she heard that. And she was like, can we please exchange numbers? Can we keep in touch? Because I need you to teach me your ways. And so I brought that up to say that her seeing me in my experience, in my energy, seeing those text messages, woke her up to her own desires. Right? So when you have these breaking points in your life where you realize enough is enough, that this isn't serving me, this is hurting me, harming me more than it's helping me, and you see something that inspires you, it reminds you of your own desires, thus bringing you back to yourself. Does this make sense? We're supposed to look out in the world and be inspired. And be inspired in order to remember what we can have as well, what we're supposed to have as well. I'm tired too, y'all. I'm over this shit too. If it wasn't for this community, if it wasn't for Alcheminity, if it wasn't for Patreon, if it wasn't for my one-on-one clients, let me tell y'all, I probably would have given up. I would have given up a long time ago because I was on the breaking edge of wanting to give up. And I did in so many ways. I did give up. I gave up the facade. I gave up the masks. I gave up the old beliefs. I gave up playing this overly humble role. I gave it all up. And since giving it up, bursting into my sensuality and my sexuality, created Alcheminity here, created this YouTube channel. It created the members only Patreon. It created one on one. It created and wrote the book Activate, which many of you have a copy. Thank you for getting your copy and reaching out and let me know how much it's touched you and activated you and awakening you and helping you to remember your powers and your purpose and your pussy's power. Like many of you, I have felt stuck in my body, in my mind, and in my life, but no more. And how do we, answer the calling of no more? How do we fully step into our missions and our purpose and our powers through our pussies? By filling ourselves, awakening that energy, awakening God energy by filling ourselves, raising up that energy so it can help us remember why we're here and why we came to this planet. That's all I can share here. We're at 33 minutes. We're going to stop it right here. Listen, if you want the extended version of this, become a member over on patreon.com/Alcheminity. The information is in the description box. Just click the link. It'll guide you right there. You can become a general support member or a come member, whatever you feel guided. Now, if this is new to you, this is new information to you. If you're newly on this journey of activating your purpose and your powers through your pussy, okay, don't become a come member. That's not for you yet. All right. There are those of you who reached out to me. You're ready to work one-on-one. You asked me which membership level should you join, the general support or the come member. Join the general support member first. When you're ready to graduate, when you're ready, you will know when you're ready for come. But if you're new to this information, if you're new to this idea of feeling yourself, touching yourself, to remember your powers and your purpose, then join the general support option. Okay. For those of you who are ready to work one-on-one with me, email me. The information is in the description box below. If you book this November, okay, for those of you who don't have the time, you don't want to make the long-term 4-week investment or the financial investment to work immersively with me in the 4 weeks, there is an option for December where we do a 1-day deep dive. Okay. That's for those of you who don't have the time and you don't, again, you don't have the time for the 4 weeks or, ready to make that investment to work with me for the 4 weeks. That is available to you, but just email me and I'll send you that information if you are ready to work one-on-one with me. Okay. One-on-one exclusives for the 4 weeks are one-on-one exclusives are 4 weeks long. There's Flicker, Flame, and Fire for the first 3 weeks. In the 4th week, we bring everything that you've learned in the first 3 weeks and we bring it to the forefront in the 4th week. Okay. Deep dives. We are going into your shadows. We are going to the shadows of your mind, of your body, of your pussy. We are helping you remember what your purpose and bringing that to the forefront. You're no longer hiding. In the 4 weeks, you are coming out. I'm here. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Got to let it show. I'm coming. That's what I'm hearing. Anyway, I'll see y'all. I'll speak to y'all again in the extended version. If you want the extended version of this, because there's some shit that I just can't say. It's just too yummy. It's just too juicy. It's just too deep. But some of us like it deep. So if you like it deep, become a member over on Patreon. I'll see you in the extended version of this. Ciao.